Welcome to the program. My name is Conteh, and you are watching the Tpn TV and Radio Network coming to you live from the United States of America. Today we get Dr. Richard Conteh. We all know whether Dr. Richard Conteh been on this program for uh, many times. And Dr. Richard Conteh did in America, but we understand, say, Dr. Richard Conteh been get some problem with the government, where they get for arrest him for some time. Then they make some allegation against them, so they get for arrest them. Dr. Richard Conteh, thank you very much for coming on the program today.
Yes, Dr. Thank you very much.
So I don't say you don't need for introduce yourself on this program, and a lot of people that don't know that you. But let me go straight to the point. What is actually the line they break?
Yes.
Okay, you better now. You okay?
Yeah, okay now.
Okay. So let me go to the point. What thing actually happened? Because one of the things we will be first see is the harassment where you been get through. The time you been go upline where you want to go that one town where the police they stop you. That's not a sign for say yes, probably you don't irritate the government, and now all of a sudden they begin give allegations say they may give you $11 million. You never put that money the outside supposed for go, and all of a sudden we arrest. What actually happened?
Well, since you mentioned the issue of that trip to the southeast, well, actually the whole saga starts Nabo. I did in a hotel in the evening, and then I just see one truckload of policeman there and some soldier man there, then come. They say me the whole meeting where they pose the security threat. Now I say, would I send there? Now they said the LUC. Anyway, we sort ourselves out. After a few minutes, they apologized, they left. Then I left the next morning. I go Kailahun, I hold my meeting at Kailahun, I left, I go Boedu. I reach Boedu, they in the meeting, 9-3 policemen then come. They say they send there for tell me say I for stop the meeting and I not for proceed to Kangama. And I say, would I tell you I go Kangama? And by the way, I be take any permission from Unawa to travel. Anyway, so I continue my trip. I go Kangama. From Kangama, I be go Kwendu. About 4 miles to Kwendu. That day, I just see checkpoints. I see armed policeman there with AK-47 rifles and then tear gas gun there. They block the road, then cross rope at the road. So we stop. Now we Kaila district chairman and one from our honorable Pamakati and then go and then begin engage with the policeman there. Long and short of it is that they refuse we a permission for proceed. So let me step candle. I say, what's happening? And they say, well, then get instructions from State House through the AIG for say they not for allow me convoy for enter Kwendu under any circumstance. I say, hey, bro, I say, what's in a convoy? And it's a series of vehicles. I say, bro, 3 months ago, a series of vehicles Sunday. When I say enough for enter Kwendu, I say, okay, no problem. I say, then I go let my together now. Me I go waka, go Kwendu. Then they say, well, the instruction then get is that even if they go on foot, they not for allow me for enter Kwendu. I say, but I lie. I said, well, I'll kill me no more now. I said, but me I go Kwendu. Because all I was going to do was just for go and identify with my people them, and sympathize with them, and show them say somebody cares. That was the purpose of my trip, and I don't ever believe say I need visa for travel around Salone. But I traveled, I went to Kwendu, from Kwendu I came Dia, from there I come continue going to Pujahun before I ever return to Freetown. Then of course we get the constituency 110 elections, and we all know what's happened at the end of the day, so I began to go on radio and television and agitate the APC position and state them very clearly with the APC position on the whole elections and the aftermath. 2 days later, then I'm in the office. Now I get a call from the ACC, say they need to see me urgently. Now, ACC office for can clarify an issue. I say, what's the issue? And they say about $11 million grant from the Japanese. I say, hey, Bo. I say, then the issue. I say, no, wait, I can't to buy. I say, no, it has to be today. I said, hey, boy, big. This was a Thursday. I said, but I bet my wait tomorrow now. They said, no. If me not can, they can't take me. I said, okay. Ma called me lawyer. I will come. And ma put me documents set together. Luckily, that issue did not come up that the COI, Commission of Inquiry, and my lawyer did not present those documents. I have to get copies from the office. I just take them. Now I can't do. The lawyer join me. We go to the ACC. As I enter, I sit down and they say they're under arrest.
Wow.
And I said, hey, you don't reach there now? But say they're under arrest. Oh man, 4 days and so. That's 4 days. But anyway, the long and short of it is that I began to explain to them the whole issue about this money. These $12 million, not to cash, then give to the government of Sierra Leone, fuel. And the fuel we then give to the government of Sierra Leone, the equivalent of about actually 10.5 million. There is round up to say 11 million. The Japanese, they recruit agents in England as the procuring agent for help for sell this fuel on behalf of the Japanese and give the money to the government of Sierra Leone, also to Richard Conteh. So they go through the first procurement process. One company in England then win the right for sell the fuel on behalf of the government. But when they do that procurement process when they send to me the report, will be for loss about $2 million by the money. The money will for realize. And I said, none of they accept. I said, first of all, now only one company apply. Secondly, they not advertise locally in Sierra Leone. Thirdly, the government of Sierra Leone not participates in the process. I say, and if the outcome forbid that would have lost $2 million, I say, they accept. So I terminate because in the exchange of notes, I've been getting power as the Minister of Trade for terminate the contract. So I read the exchange of notes, I get the power, so I terminate the contract and ask me to relaunch her. And at this time, for advertising in Sierra Leone, and somebody from the office for go participate in the process for represent government. So they accept, and I send Dan Mason, wherever the director for the petroleum unit, now the Minister of Trade and Industry, for make you go participate in the procurement process in England. So then they do the process all over. When they retender, this time NP Sierra Leone and Total Sierra Leone apply. When they conclude the process, now NP Sierra Leone win the bid. And when NP Sierra Leone win the bid, the 47 billion leons, where now we realize from the sale, which will be amount to almost $11 million, they pay the money straight into an account now Bank of Salon, where Ministry of Finance through the Cathedral office, then they open the account. Now an escrow account, then they pay the money. The money not come to the Ministry of Trade directly, no. It not come into a personal account of Richard Conteh. It go into the Bank of Sierra Leone, the dedicated account. And according to the exchange of notes, the government of Sierra Leone just obliged for account for 50% of that amount there to the Japanese. The other 50%, governments can use them anyhow you have to use them. So we don't need for account for them. So as minister, we get oversight responsibility for the grant, I've been there for seek approval and recommend to His Excellency for say, may they use the 50% for finance, roads, and energy, because the time government will need money for do the roads project and the energy project. That's also they use the 50% for that, with about 5.5 million, and then the other half, I said, they use them for set up an SME fund, for set up for operationalize the local content policy and the ease of doing business reforms, and then for finance the completion of 3 markets. So go to cabinet I get cabinet approval on this way where I want to make them use the money and seek and obtain cabinet approval. After that, I convene a steering committee, because in the exchange of notes, the 50% for use them, you get for convene a steering committee, and the Japanese they send a representative from Japan for can sit down on the steering committee for decide on how they want for utilize the fund. So the Japanese then come to then stay attend the meeting. Minister of Finance, Minister of Works, we all meet, we approve the ways the way for use the funds. After that, we tender now for the markets, we conclude the process, and then I write officially seek executive approval from the President for making a request Ministry of Finance for release the money to Sierra Leone Commercial Bank for the SME fund and to the contractors for the markets. For the money we'll give to Sierra Leone Commercial Bank for the SME fund, we enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Sierra Leone Commercial Bank, will be clearly stipulate their responsibilities in terms of ensuring that they administer this fund on behalf of government and collect the loans them back. So basically, we protect the money by asking a private entity for management. But Commercial Bank not entirely private. It is the only bank we 100% owned by the people of Sierra Leone, and now the People's Bank. So now we use for the fund. So basically, this is how the whole transaction happened. Richard no see money and not touch money and not smell money. But I think they got it all wrong. They just feel say they don't understand how governments they work. So they assume they where the money in the inside suitcase they load up. Na Japan, na Kauta. Well, look you where you find for look, I give you 100,000. Where you I give you 1 million. Where they call I give you this, and that's not how government works. So they lock me up for 4 days, and after 4 days, they grant me bail. I go home without charge.
So then just release you without no charge, no nothing.
No charge.
Wow. So wow. Oh boy. Well, what we hearing now na social media, now that make it very, very important for bring people the person we actually get in problem. Let you guys explain. I hope say the people that when they watch, when they listen to him, then really understand and say, oh, Richard Conteh don't thief money. You know, even the presidents, this, that. Now, one of the things the way the president's been sacked, you all that kind of information they just they follow on social media. You know.
No, I mean, I'm not think they are that stupid for go thief money we get trailed. Whether it take 1,000 years or not, this was a grant we come from a foreign country. The paper trail is always there. Why should I be so stupid for go tap or soft money? Besides, that's not how government works. The money does not come to an individual. The money goes into an account in the Bank of Sierra Leone. And once the money gets there, Ministry of Finance, now they get supremacy over the administration of that money, not to the Ministry of Trade. And so as Minister of Trade, I don't get any way for access a cent from that money without due process.
So let me ask you a question, because you've been in the government for some time. How you rate these governments for this past almost 2 years, based on your experience?
Well, to be very fair, me not the wrong person for ask for access this government, because me not opposition.
And that's true.
Me not APC. But if I for talk as a Sierra Leonean, I think times are hard. And the general talk na free tongue is that the ground dry. And really, and if you look at the economy, simple indicators, the inflation skyrocket, the exchange rate, the dollar skyrocket, hunger. I mean, like APC people, them all they out of jobs. They sack me, they issue sack letter, as if they issue principal, they issue report card. Now secondary school at the end of the year. Now so they issue sack letter to APC people there in hundreds. And so we all sit down, we all not their job. And just imagine the effect whether they get. But the most worrying bit for me, the investment climate, where it don't be really, really shaky. Investors are packing up, companies are closing down, and even the domestic private sector is suffering. Woman, they come out, they go to market whole day for go sell. That's how they go spread the market so that they pack and back if it's their good house. It's worrisome. It's worrisome. And we own prayer. As a Christian, we get the responsibility for pray for the government. So we pray for them. And we hope, say, God will guide them and lead them for may they able to govern the country well.
So,
Because we love the country well.
yeah, the SLPP, some of them, where are the, discuss about this. One of the default excuses, the APC government been the sack people then too. What do you say about that?
Yeah, taxation they all over the world. But at what level they tax the people? And how they apply the tax policy? That's the problem. Not an issue of taxation. Taxation they all over the world. But what are the level of taxation? I mean, think the Nawataki, for example, where people they pay 10 million, 12 million, 15 million for clear goods Nawataki. Then come all of a sudden overnight it becomes 30-something million. So and naturally, because they transfer to the consumer, any tax you levy on the businessman, they transfer to the consumer. Mm-hmm. And another most worrying thing, even this GST, then they apply GST now as a withholding tax, which means at the point of import, they force you for pay GST. They include them by your cost of duty. They add them to the cost of duty. When they pay the duty, then they add the GST. So they pay them at the point of entry. So which means that they collect as a withholding tax. We don't defeat the whole essence of GST because GST is an end-use tax. So they pay them at the point of end use. But they're not doing that. They pay them at the point of entry. So which is in itself wrong. But what's bad is that when they go inside the shops, then go sell again, then they require the traders to also collect GST, which means instead of 15%, they're actually collecting 30%. And so when you add 30% GST to the cost of goods, what did they expect? Now, super inflation. So those small things that they do not seem to get right. And maybe they need some tax advisors for guide them so that they're able to do the right thing. And maybe they also need some advice in terms of how you deal with investors, how you instill confidence in investors. It's not just about saying, let's renegotiate, let's terminate, let's suspend. No. Contracts need to be enforced. Contracts need to be honored. Contracts need to be respected. That is how investors get confidence in a system. But if you just terminate or suspend contracts just like that, anyhow, then I think they lost investor confidence. And for a country where they struggle with the appropriate economic and social infrastructure for attracting investors, if we add to that an unstable political climate and an unstable contract regime, they just make matters worse for we. So we need for quickly as a country do something about that, so that investors can come. Not only when investors then come, then they can create the jobs and pay the meaningful tax which government would need for embark on your development activities. Without those things, we're in trouble.
One thing where I look surprised, I remember in 2007 when the APC party kind of power, I did see the kind of mutual relationship between the outgoing SLPP government of Tijan Kaba and the incoming APC of Hannes by Koroma. So there were some kind of collaboration and coordination. But this time around, I don't see that at all. What do you think is the problem here?
Attitude. By some coincidence, by some chance, now me coordinate the transition from SFP to APC. I make coordinate the whole process, and we ensure, say, even we would recommend the composition of the transition team to His Excellency. We include on the team SLPP and PMDC people, the moderate ones. We are part of the transition team, just for instill confidence. And the objective of the transition for we not to be for go after anybody, but be just for make we know what will they inherit, what we meet, so that we know what we how we take off. And we focus more on how we can move the country forward. And President Kuroma in emphasis now being how we move the country forward with everybody on board. A very inclusive form of government. That was his own choice, and he did best for the period where they in governance for make people them feel a part of the governance structure. Most of Minister of Finance, now they so they not sack anybody. NRA, that they not sack anybody. NASIT, they not sack anybody. The university system, that they not sack anybody. The civil service, that they dominator, they not sack anybody apart from the other way retire. But people that will get tenured positions when they wait till their contracts they expire before they terminated. The one or two where they've been there for ask for relieve them of the duty because of expediency or the sensitivity of their positions. They make sure say they pay them off. They ask them gently for resign. They pay them off and then go quietly. No issues. That was how President Kuroma decided for Duam. And I think it's been good for the country. And that did make investors then come. Things were happening and plenty of things we didn't feel say possible. It happened. We fixed the lights at the country, we fixed the roads at the country, we fixed water supply at the country, unprecedented in the recent political history of our country there.
So what in you as a Sierra Leonean, forget about being an APC as a Sierra Leonean, just like what you say. What in you because this don't eat into the fabric of society where would they see a lot of division in the country, and we get some people then at the diaspora and they make things then good at all, then they find out and call. What in you advice to the government and the opposition, we own party, for make sure say we all go for work for the benefit of the country?
My advice to the SLPP is that they're not going to be able to rule by coercion. They're not going to be able to rule that country with just one part of the country against the rest of the country. It's not going to work. They're not going to be able to rule that country with one tribe. Sierra Leone is a small country. We are all interconnected. And we all for be part of the governance structure. They therefore need for take steps for be inclusive in their governance. They therefore take steps for restore confidence in the opposition, say they're in that part of the system. They therefore take steps for restore confidence in the international community. They therefore take steps for restore confidence in the private sector. They need that day if they therefore take off. We as a party in the opposition and even the other smaller parties think say now that the time where we get for fed for deepen with democratic credentials as a country. Now that the time where we for reorganize ourselves, regroup, we strategize, and make sure say we engage constructively in providing the right type of opposition where the SIPP that we need for bring them to an understanding of waiting the right thing for do in the best interest of Sierra Leone. We all get a shared responsibility for we own one Sierra Leone. And I believe, say, the government and the opposition for work together collaboratively for make it happen. If about government that they empower, that they get the honors for reach out to the opposition and create the space for make the collaboration take place. But what did they happen now? So not the conducive environment and they to make it happen and not helpful.
Let me go now the quick we'll get about some people commentators the way one for ask. Do you guys just ask question? We don't want too much commentary. Just ask the question, you wait for the answer, okay? Let me start with Mr. Kabo. Mr. Kabo, go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, Radio Tpn. Good afternoon, Mr. Richard Conteh. This is Cabo from New York, the owner, the contributor with Tpn. The first concern or question is that it's very short, it's just a yes and no. I know you tried to explain as much as you could, but again, the reason I'm asking is because people are in doubt and a lot of people talk about things. So let's get it now straight. During the time you were a minister of trade, as you mentioned, you had a trip to, I don't know, whether Japan or somewhere else. And was there at any point in time where you were given or received on behalf of the government and the people of Sierra Leone the sum of $11 million in cash?
I think it be not explained.
And hold on, I'm coming. And was there at any point in time during that same visit or any other visit you went into that you received a fuel donation for the people and the government of Sierra Leone? And also, at any time of that of your ministry tenure, was there at any point in time you went outside of Sierra Leone, either in Japan or maybe the same country, that you receive food supply, more so rice, bags of rice, so on behalf of the government of Sierra Leone and the people of Sierra Leone?
Okay.
It's just a yes or no question.
I will not answer the question, but not carry the states. First of all, I'll not ever go Japan. I'll not ever go Japan in my life. And therefore, I'll not ever receive cash from any government. I'm not a minister of finance. And even the minister of finance does not receive cash. When grants are given, donations are given to countries, they don't give cash. That is not how it works. Okay? The money is wired. It's not cash donation, it is wired into an account in the Bank of Sierra Leone. They don't give cash. So I never received any cash. Yes, I received, on behalf of government, 2 grants from the government of Japan to the government of Sierra Leone when I was Minister of Trade. The first one was rice, which was sold, and the 7-point-something billion, which was realized from the sale of that rice, was lodged into an account, an escrow account in the Bank of Sierra Leone, and up to the 19th of February 2016, the entire 7 billion plus was still in the account. So I did not touch it as Minister of Trade. We sold it, the money is there in the account, and Minister of Finance is controlling it. The second one was the fuel, and I've explained the process that was followed. Without fuel, and the money was lodged into the escrow account in the Bank of Sierra Leone, and due process was followed in terms of how it was utilized.
Okay. Let me go to Mr. Abdul. Mr. Abdul, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Conteh. First of all, I get 3 questions, but I just want to give kudos of that audio way, Mankota video way, be the reference to how we been go. We come on now, the Matoka, you say, well, me, Mr. Conteh, when I go kill me now, when I get. I like that, and I pull me out for you because I could have done the same thing or more than what you do, because like you say, Salon, I will get them. So let God bless you for that. The question really what I get, you not being young Kela in college mate, and knowing you feel say if Naim win this election, you feel say what is happening now for being different, because when you did at college with somebody for 4 years, when I mingle and dining hall and debate, and all that, maybe you go know as small, if not even 100%. If you say, I mean, the structure, the way the country is right now, it will be different from the former college mates we know. And secondly, the other question I get, I listened to one of the interview where he say, and do you support that? I mean, that question where he say, he believes say the country is not going the right way. He will advise the government maybe for putting a team of economic advisors them, where the president or vice president will chair that economic council there for still bringing good ideas of for make the country come more wusa it for they go to right now. Do you share that view? And the last question, again, you advise the government just now, say the country now we all own. And I don't hear you on an audio where IBCAGO talk to Tunis where they go Nigeria so to their speaker where say they no go give tickets to all the APC people way whatever misbehavior will be happen where matter be work out department. IBCAGO make a statement and say, look, Tunis where they talk so he enjoy the APC under an escrow pass born APC people there and they can tell me they will not go do this. Putting all this together. And from where APC been there, where you talk, say, a lot of people, they don't sack them, they did it, they turn, they don't. When you look at people like the financial sector today, where not being the loan advisor, you think of things the way they happen. Do you envision anything that if APC come back to power, if APC come back to power, things will be different?
Okay, go ahead, Doctor.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yum Kela to me college mate. The year where Yum Kela come out na college the year me enter. Oh, wow. But Yum Kela has been a friend over the years. And I'm quite convinced, say, if na Yum Kela be president, what happen so na Sierra Leone, not before happen. And nothing say it before go down this road. I'm quite convinced about that. On the issue of the speaker, Tunis, and which he do or not do, I think saying that just a perpetuation of the power ideology. And so, to me, not come as any surprise. But it's true that Tunis will be a very good friend of President Nkrumah, and President Nkrumah is a very nice person, and I should say he benefits a lot from the administration of the APC. In terms of advice, I think every government need economic advice, and clearly this government need them very badly, because right now, from all indications, the economy is being mismanaged, and I think it will be helpful for all Sierra Leoneans for make them retrace their steps and take appropriate action for correct the situation, both at the level of monetary policy and fiscal policy. So between the Bank of Sierra Leone and the Ministry of Finance, a lot need for be done. For sure, say there is proper synergy, there is proper understanding of the issues, and there is proper leadership provided for able manage the economy and sustain them.
All right, let me go to Bami. Go ahead.
Well, welcome on board, sir. And second of all, I think you don't articulate the information then very clearly. So I don't even get. I don't know if it's going to be too deep or too personal. Once you went in your office previously, when you've been in the APC government, I believe say they may remove you from your position. Is there any way you can explain to me what the reason?
First of all, I make say, as president, you get the right for hire and fire. And President Nkrumah, they reserve the right for hire me. And when he please, I hire me. When he please, I'm back, he fire me. But of course, when they did fire me, strangely, in the release, they be state two things. One, they say, I'll not be open and transparent in a mining agreement, where they say they lead to a potential revenue loss for government. So because of that, and then secondly, they talk about timber. I want to make the whole world know, say, on the issue of the mining agreement and not sign any mining agreement. The mining agreement in question was signed by the Minister of Mines and Mineral Resources, Mr. Minkailu Mansari. So how I not be open and transparent in that process, only God knows. On the issue of the timber, I made the whole world know today for say Nami's signature, na in the forge. And that was established by Christopher John, when I be the head of CISU, Central Intelligence and Security Unit, in the State House, and also in court. The state witness, the state technical witness, the handwriting specialist, he go confirm in a court for say my signature was forged. So I was not liable. So now that make, when they take me in a court, the charges don't give me that too. One, they say, forgery, I forged my signature. How can I forge my own signature? But anyway, it was established in the court that my signature was forged. And two, they say, I make person not pay tax. Nawasaki. And it was again proven that that not happen. I not call nobody, I not instruct anybody, make it not pay tax. And if anything, the letters we are write, we are signed, be very clear on the need for make people there pay their taxes and to make the relevant offices there ensure full compliance with that.
So let me make a follow-up on that, because this is very, very important. This is the reason why it's very, very important for, especially in the age of social media, where information, they can somebody, they just throw certain information, it fly like fire. Do you think it was just a calculated effort for making them taint you? Because I remember there was a time when some information they can say you want for run for the presidency. Do you think this is just a calculated effort for making them try for taint you? And I don't know.
Well, I know I impute motives into this whole scenario. I just have to present the facts as they are. I left to everybody now for filling the blanks in terms of waiting will likely be the motivating factors. But one thing very clear is that I worked very hard for my boss because I loved my boss, I respected my boss, and I wanted him to succeed. And I stopped at nothing to ensure that he succeeded. In the process, of course, I go down, ruffle some feathers, I go down, step on some toes, and so maybe some people will be one for get back at me, I don't know. But the good thing for me is that at the end of it all, the court proved say I was innocent. And the people of Sierra Leone, they know say, we said they be measure me and not flop day.
And the other good news is today, you know, one of the few people that are the APC where they stand up and talk and without any kind of blemish. So that's sometimes bad things. Now only God know waiting at the end of that. So I think say now a blessing for you. Now let we come quickly because we time done. We just don't lose another seat na Falaba. What we get for do as APC for make sure say we try for put we act together and try for prepare for 2023, because the way I see it seems like things are not going the way it's supposed to go. That's the last question.
I want to just assure every APC person for say 2023 will be different. We pray for make the party go through the process very soon for let we get the new constitution adopted. And we pray for make the party next year go to convention, make the people, members of the party, elect the flag bearer for the party. Once we get the flag bearer, we all will team up and re-strategize for ensure say that person day where we all will elect as a flag bearer, that he win the election. We will put in place all the strategies the way we need to counter any attempt where any other party will try for rig the elections. It not go possible. We will ensure say we call on the international community, make them be very vigilant. We go raise the red flags in time. We'll not go wait for make we go begin grumble later. We go prevent them from happening, and we go ensure, say, the people of Sierra Leone get a chance to choose the direction where the American country go. Is it the Pauper direction or is it the APC direction, the Nestor direction? People of Sierra Leone will have an opportunity for decide. And me think, say, based upon what we all don't feel and see, I think, say, the choice of the people will be very clear.
Well, Dr. Richard Conteh, thank you very much for taking time for coming.
No, my God, Mr. Conteh, just quickly, I know say being in governance for the past 10 years, and before you go to government, meaning from 2007, a lot of the movers and shakers of the SFPP today, you know them. Perhaps some of them are schoolmates, or if you don't know them in your lifetime and all that. Is there anything will surprise you where, as the way things are going now, these are people, some of them we know, and not be expecting this thing will happen because some of people, these are people, I mean, to head with. Is there anything will...
No, you're correct. When you say plenty of them are my friends, plenty of them we go college together, plenty of them I teach them in college. That is very true. And me are also the president of the Jala University Alumni Association, and plenty of them na Jala they study. So na me colleagues, them, my fellow alumni there. Sincerely, the extent where things can go na a rude shock. I not be ever feel say a Sierra Leonean go treat a fellow Sierra Leonean in this way. I not be feel so. But of course, I hope say the euphoria go die down very soon and sanity go prevail in the best interest of the country.
Yeah, Mr. Mankosa, can I ask a follow-up question quick with Mr. Richard just to clear things?
Well, I don't know after I will call, but okay, I will give you 1 minute, just 1 minute, please.
Right. Now, Mr. Conteh, sorry, based on your involvement as a patriot in Sierra Leone and a member of the APC, and you held a very responsible position as Minister of Trade and from there onwards, do you think it is ridiculous or is unconstitutional for the government, the present sitting government of Sierra Leone, to invite you to the CID or to detain you for questioning regarding to the transactions or giving a report of your stewardship in the past government? And if so, how would you compare that kind of detention of 4 days and questioning as a patriot to report to the Sierra Leoneans as to how you run your department? Compare that to that of Anef Koroma, who had made 2 or 3 allegations against you, as you reiterated just now, and he not only stopped there, he fired you. Which one of it is more disheartening to you, and which one of it is more you think it's illegal and or illegal, or does so offend you so much?
Okay.
I don't after you say, as president, it please them for hire, it please them for fire. In both announcements, then they say it has pleased His Excellency the President. So they're right. There's nothing unconstitutional about it. Luckily for me, they gave reasons why I was sacked, and we went to court. And the court then ruled say they don't get any evidence against me. So that is fine. Whatever happened to me in the process, it's now history. Similarly, there's nothing wrong for me if government come and they want to find out how previous governments they don't perform. We are stewards. We are servants. We therefore accountable to the people. So I don't get any problem with the COI. The problem I get with the COI now the process where they follow for set up the COI and where they now get clear rules of evidence determined by the appropriate committee we're supposed to do. Therefore, I don't think say it set the stage for a fair tribunal. That is my only issue. But in terms of the principle of accountability and the responsibility we will get for account, I don't get any problem with that. In a similar vein, I not see anything wrong if the ACC they invite me for make I go explain. What I find wrong that the fact that without investigating completely and getting credible evidence against me, they decide to detain me. So that in both cases, from a human rights point of view, is not right.
Yeah.
Because I believe, say, as a citizen, they infringe upon me fundamental human rights. So it not be legally wrong for what they do, because maybe the laws they allow, and especially ACC say the laws they allow them for detain person for 10 days, then they left you. You know, and I shall say in the case of the previous governments, they charge me in less than 3 days. After 2 days in the CID, they charge me. They tell me go to court, they refuse me bail. So legally it's okay, but in terms of the infringement of my on my fundamental human rights, that is an issue. But me don't put all of that behind me. I don't forgive everybody. We even without anybody asking for forgiveness, we don't forgive everybody. We get any heart for play. I believe say now God in your way for cleanse me, for make people know who I be. And I think the facts will come out. So at least people will get the opportunity because if they're not being taken in court, will not be treated and treatment. So maybe the facts will forever come out. So I'm glad that the facts don't come out, and the people of Sierra Leone at home and abroad don't wouldn't Richard Conteh.
Well, Dr. Richard Conteh, once again, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much, and stay safe, and welcome to the United States. Anytime when we get any good call, as long as you're there, or even you didn't salon, we will always call you and say, hey, we want you for maybe you can clarify. This information today, where you
no problem, anytime.
Yeah, this information we give today, so very, 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 very important, you know. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right. That was Dr. Richard Conteh. He been talk to we. In fact, he did at Texas. He talk to we. So I think say in a very good interview. When I get a lot of other information. And especially in terms of the circuit and circum, that's not a very good question. I don't know who asked that question because yeah, that was a very good question. So a good way he touched on that. I think Naya Dabami, yeah, a good way he asked that question, the way he touched on that, because I know say some of them they were all they get the intention for one day for run for a position at that country day. And in the age of social media, there are so many information they go on about individuals, especially people that don't like you. They can get one information, they add 10 information on top of that for make the you get the weight more and more. So a good way answer them, and I'm glad it. Guys, so waiting now your take on this particular interview today, especially when it comes the arrest on both sides, where they arrest them. Let me start with Mr. Cabo again. Go ahead.
Yeah, give me a second. Let me get off from the. I'm home. Okay. Right. The interview is very good, and he threw light into many things there where a lot of people they not preview. But what remains clear, especially on my own part, where I ask the question, I figure out that all three instances he accepted because there was money transaction, which he might call it a gas or fuel, but it turned out to be money transaction. And he did not explain about the food or rice. And later, when I asked the question, the three embedded questions, he accepted that there was a time when he received food supply in the form of rice for the country of Sierra Leone. So I think that is a very essential reason, especially when we have a corrupt government or a corrupt society. I think the government of Sierra Leone get a right, the present sitting government of Sierra Leone get a right for making invite and for making go testify, because 11 million worth of gas or fuel or whatever it is, whether it is fuel as apart from gas, he needs to testify that. And that's why I asked the comparison between the two to see which one was more disheartening to his own part. That is to say, when I asked him the question whether which one is more preferable, the detention and the questioning as a patriot or somebody we don't offer service in the country about his stewardship, whether he felt it as much as compared to when an Escoloma tarnished his name and fired him. But he also said that an Escoloma as a president by then, he has the right to hire and fire. Okay, but the Commission of Inquiry also has the right, instilled to them by the Constitution or the people and the government of Sierra Leone, to call whosoever they are interested in to give an account for his or her own past stewardship. So I find it troubling because he didn't look at it that way.
Well,
but what I wanted him to know is to let him understand that the Commission of Inquiry is not a crime for anybody.
Well,
and anybody could be invited. Even me being in New York, I could be called to the commission if they need me.
Mr. Gabo?
As a Sierra Leonean. Right.
I think say he even talk about that, say he don't get problem with that. The problem where he gets is when you want for call somebody, at least get some kind of a foundation where you know say yes, authentically this a crime has already been happened, and then go hold 4 days. They no charge nothing absolutely. Then after the 4 days, they just left her. And that's the day he say, the day he feels say they violate in your right. But in terms of calling him, it make him clear say it was not a problem at all. They're supposed to call him. So what do you think about that?
No, but even at that, they don't violate his right, Mr. Mankota. If you could hear an information and you want it to be clarified, what do? You have to call the person.
Yeah, but
if you are a person of authority or police or whatever. So calling you is just to clarify. It's not a violation of your right to come and explain. When you explain, they let you go.
But do you have to detain the person for 4 days?
Yeah, because we are finding information relevant to that.
I think we'll be not.
So that's why I listen. Okay. Yeah, you have the right to detain him as much as you possibly can, as long as it's within the framework and you explain the reason and the why you detain the person.
The framework say you detain for somebody for 48 hours, you charge him if you want to continue for detain him, or you release him. That was the framework of the Constitution. Not so. I think we'll be not discussing about this.
Mr. Mankota, this is the problem we have in this society today, especially the Sierra Leoneans. 48 hours is not a cut-off mark. 48 hours, if you have all the evidence and everything about the person. If you don't have that, you can lengthen the time as much as you could until you get what you want.
As long as
it is explained.
You have to go to court for that, Mr. Kabo. You cannot just sit down and hold on, Mr. Abdullah.
You mentioned also. You make mention also of him being aspirant for presidency.
Mr. Kabo, hold on, let me explain.
Let me explain. Let me just come through this quick. You mentioned about him being an interest to presidency. It was not a mistake. It was not a news, Mr. Mankota. I personally remember in Tpn we interviewed him when he told us on that Tpn that he has 3 million already set aside. I coached the word 3 million already set aside on his presidency.
No, forget about that.
To run for the president of Sierra Leone. So it was not a mistake. It's not like a secret.
No, let me talk about the ACC first, because now that one the more me focus on right now. That what you had the time for talk about the ACC. The ACC get the right for arrest anybody where they feel say that person they commit a crime. Now then your constitution or legislative right that one day for do one. But the constitution.
No, not who they feel say you commit a crime. Who they feel say they have.
Let me explain. Okay, hold on. Let me finish.
Until you find out before you know the person commit a crime. Who say ever they have interest on?
Mr. Gabo, let me finish, please. They get the right for arrest anybody where they feel say he commit a crime or allegedly has committed a crime. Then the constitution say when you arrest that person there, because that person is getting your rights, that make the constitution make them very clear say within 48 hours charge the person if you want for continue for Holland. Now that make the APC, if you listen what Dr. Conteh say, he said even the APC party when they arrest and 2 days now in then kill and go to court, then go charge them, then
Thank you.
then they refuse bail that make it in na prison for a longer time. And that's not the right way supposed to do. So for say you get for Holland indefinitely until you get a tangible witness, that's a violation that one day. Quickly, let me go to Mr. Abi.
Okay, thank you, Mankota, because I've been just one reference that, because for let Mr. Kagbo say no, then Ki Olam, and where Kagbo live in America, you know, the democratic principle. I challenge Mr. Kagbo, let's show me any public government official with in charge of corruption in New York, with the NYPD or any part of New York, with the old, they say, oh, well, we go just hold on the investigation. They no, they go charge them, bring them a court, prosecutor say no, Mr. George, we no want let we give this bail because the police are still doing the investigation. But by law, they not go hold you, say, okay, law just keep you, you know. So, I mean, I want to let Mr. Kabo, because we all live there now, because law no say because the shoes fall now, this other man in shoes, because we for do this. And you don't reference that clear now, say, he say, we APC charge him, arrest him, 2 days, the third day, then charge him. Now, so it for be. ACC get right for invite any Sierra Leonean, we don't go, then feel suspicious, they don't government money. But the thing we are surprised on this last one we talk, assuming, Makota, what Richard Conteh tell is true, that this is not the way it works, government to government, when they give money, and not it works so. That means, by listening to Dennis and other SLPP people, and I say, this government is not short of veteran, seasoned bureaucrats and politicians there. I believe say them for no from the get go say, well, you know, not just bring them in, law clear the air. But then for don't know because some of them served in the SLPP government of Pakaba. And those who never served there, they are now serving. They must have gone through the educational background and say, if the United States is going to give money to Sierra Leone, this is not money where then go just say, oh, the minister can, then put on a suitcase, care and go. Then for don't know, say, like what Mr. Conteh say, assuming it's true, they are not to say you work at all. So the idea of inviting him, they have the right. But the idea of holding him for 4 days, where they clearly know, say, this is not the way standard procedures to operate, Japan given 11 million and not to pass, then for check the modalities of whatever exchange. But anyway, it don't explain that side now. And I think say based on what he say, he don't forgive everybody. Let's hope he's right. I mean, as far as in political ambition, nobody know go hide that. Anybody will start doing an experiment government, be one way or the other ambitious. You ask the least person, they go say, I want to be president of Sierra Leone too. And I give an example. I'm from Putloko. Somebody like Mahmoud Rawli, we himself allegedly they been charged for say he rape a girl, a school picking when I got fair way promised scholarship. I mean, he's been run for president. So for less somebody, oh, I don't want to be president. Not lie, because I don't work with a politician in America. Yeah. So I know anybody where they into politics, they always aim for the high office. And not go one day we say they no more. No way. So not a surprising thing if Richard Conteh say get 11 million, 3 million or even more preparing for the flag bearer. But like what he say, I hope he see to it that in the event the party next year they elect a flag bearer, everybody will rally behind him. Then people like this, let them stick to it. And then he willing for spend that 3 million he will keep for himself, but he wants to spend on behalf of the party, you know. So again, I think say this is a very good interview. It's very articulate, it calm, and he say no grudges. I not be just one ask him because you be no ask tell me whether I just can work and they go back or he wants to stay here longer, like logos them, and then later next year I go when the politics begin. But since you say they touch that. Then maybe it just can't blow or it can't for medical checkup. Who knows?
Yeah,
but the interview
I think say before you come and tell me they inform me say it come. So actually supposed to come the 14th. I think like the 14th he come, right? Yeah. That's what they send me say it come the 14th. Now I say okay. But before that, now they can arrest him. So I feel say while when they arrest and they come no right again. When they left him, when me in talk, he tell me say they don't seize him passports. And that I've been forget to ask him how he manage come if them don't see him passports. So now that I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, now we go to Bami. Bami, go ahead.
Yes, sir. The bottom line is, you see, me and one person, we are not true applaud the ACC commissioner. If you are not true, they glorify like when most Sierra Leoneans they do. Because if you remember in our previous discussion, I say the ACC commissioner for declare assets.
You know what it is?
Elect na $1 if you get. Elect na $1 if you get. If you declare them. So that we will know where it comes from.
Well, that's what they declare. So he just declare by himself.
So it will declare assets because number one, in the first instance, the law of the land is supersede any other law we surround them. So by right, the ACC commissioner and the people holding our government up today know very well say you just cannot call person say we suspect say or we believe say you will take money with them in you where you know the rules of engagement of the transaction and number one. And then keep the person for 4 days in lockup. If you really want to investigate the man, you go say, okay, I'm going to investigate you for 4 days. You go let the man go and ask him back for come. But for keep the man, it don't begin to show you the foul play and the inconsistency of the ACC commissioner and the ACC themselves. So whether me not about a New York border they talk say, therefore it wasn't New York border they say it is that for say, therefore all the man where they don't get no evidence for him, they push it to let the man lie by himself. You don't tell people like he lie by himself because of pressure. Then they lock the up, they charge it, they happen and then can't country as well. So sometimes they now on that area they now in that me other border they look, you understand? And also I really asked them that question because I want to know the man explaining himself very clearly. But we not to court of law for Georgia and beyond that. And I want to go back and ask I don't know if not the same Richard Conteh we be involved in the 50th anniversary activity. I want to ask that question the back, but you know I don't can let for pressure because I get for caution how we trade on the interview. But when we get the interview, it's be the same man.
I think that Logos now be involved in that 50th anniversary. Where is a
no, not the logos, now Richard Conteh. So I want to ask him back if not him. If not be him, I be for further ask him back say, why is it very unfortunate you be involved on all those activities there? And second of all, if that be the case, we not explain your way. Why is it they say the country and most politicians embezzle fund? How are you guys doing it? Those were my questions I was going to ask him. Okay. But at the end of the day, he say what he have to say. We not to the court of law to go into details legally. You understand? We too go do no more. We just bring down to the people of Sierra Leone and the people who they listen to. We let them get the other side of the stories. So I think to say he did well and the interview went well. But me brother within New York here. They try to understand who's in the camp from. All the time they did in dialogue here, they try to figure them out. But at the end of the day, I will figure them out.
So you know, I think we all problem. Anyway, actually, Bami, Logos actually involved in that 50th anniversary. That's when the Logos been work for the vice president. We then get money for going to Nakono. Then say the money lost or something like that. That makes them sack Logos. So that not to be hidden something, public something. Logos.
Oh no, not to on that 50th day. There was a 50th anniversary that was done internationally and it was done in New York. And when they went back, even the lady who was the director, who they all come, then be fire and force, and the name Dr. Richard Conteh was part of it.
Oh, okay.
I'm very well aware of that.
A different thing. Okay. All right. Well.
Yeah, I'm very well aware.
Yeah, it must be true.
So if it is that same Richard Conteh, regardless of how we explain the information, people like we not reasonable thinker, we will say no, but we not get the authority for go beyond.
Yeah.
Because you get to do more investigation. So we just leave it alone.
Well, one very quick thing I want to make before we finish is I just want to let Dr. Cabo waiting in New York. For making no say, let him be a champion of fighting for the rule of law. It doesn't matter which side you come from. And if they do them in day, you have to focus on the law. Human rights are part of that law day. Nobody know they wait and they go all for 4 days without charge, without anything. While the law say 2 days, 48 hours if you charge them. In fact, they say the most na 72 hours. Within that 72 hours, if you don't charge them, and if you don't charge them, then you have you have the obligation for go na court or for release them. If you go to court, you can go and say, okay, I want for let this one continue for the jail while we do the investigation. That's not illegal. Not illegal something now. But for some of you, whether for some of you, whether
Mr. Kago, na policeman, na police officer, na New York. I want to know if they're illegal police officers there, because the reason why the way when they look up, he said they for pressure the man to take the full something para.
Now then New York police the way waiting for somebody for confess.
I think my statements are clear, and the problem we have in this era is that we tend to look at politics in Africa, especially when you're in at the opposition, because you use that as something to protect you. But when you were there, you don't use those type of rules. One thing I want, especially Sierra Leoneans, will make them desist from, which is one of the weakest points I ever see in them, especially the opposition, is that all the time the international community, we're going to call the international community, they think the international community is idle to listen to them all the time. You think they don't have a job to do? Every time we're going to, even if a dog talk backing, he says he's going to call the international committee, he's going to make sure what can you do?
Mr. Gabo, let me ask you a question.
It's me and you are the international community. And the next point which we have in Sierra Leone is that comparing African politics, especially in Sierra Leone, and the one in America. And when you look at...
Not exactly, I agree with you. I agree with you with the international community.
Hold on. When you look at the atrocities where African leaders or workers or employees of the government are causing, you want to compare that to America. Where in America, if they catch you even $1,000 as a senator or a House representative, you will go to jail for so many years.
Mr. Gabo,
always compare because it is against you guys.
Well, allow me, let me participate. I agree with you with the international committee. I'm not too supportive of the international committee in African politics most of the time, number one. Because they don't be able to be more responsible. But we don't compare the Western world politics of with African politics. What do they say? We say up we game a little bit with behavior, because you don't go to America. Hundreds of us don't left the soil of Africa. Now we they participate, now we they go make the difference. We know they say exactly we get for do what in the European or the Americans they do. All we they say, let we improve with behavior. If we not improve with behavior, you know what happen? Then me and you, we can America and England for nothing. Then Africa will never develop or never go move forward. That's the argument that would bring Mr. Kago.
Okay, well, on that note, I just want to thank Una very much for this wonderful discussion, and the interview was very, very great, and I like that very much. And I want to thank we guest winner Dr. Richard Conteh for coming at the program and explain things some people they don't understand about him. It was very, very great, and thank you all. And una we the watch una continue for watch, una continue for listening. We they come back next week by God's power, the same time when at 3 o'clock Eastern time, 12 o'clock Arizona time, and 11 o'clock Pacific time, and Sierra Leone 7 o'clock. Europe na 8 o'clock. So una continue for watching. Okay. Good night. Goodbye.
Thank you.